Welcome to part 2 of my guide on lightsaber combat. We're going to cover strong stance today. So in this stance, it's very unique and different from the other stances and how it functions. We'll start by going into the comboing system and how it differs from other stances. So in other stances, it's fairly straightforward. You can mix and match and move from any direction into another direction simply by moving in that direction and holding the attack down, and your character will chain those attacks together. But red stance doesn't quite work like that. Red stance is determined by the initial attack that you use in the direction you're moving in. So we'll use these poles to represent moving in a specific direction. This will be forward, this will be forward right, forward left, left, back left. You get the idea. If I initiate an attack from a specific direction, I can only initiate a combo from one direction clockwise or counterclockwise from that direction. Now there's an exception to this rule, but we'll get into that later. So let's say I do an overhead attack as my first hit. I can do a maximum of 3 attacks from that initial attack. I can either do 2 attacks from the same direction, so 2 forwards in a row, or I can move one direction clockwise or counterclockwise. So we'll start at the overhead, and we're going to go to the left cross. And that's one direction counterclockwise to the left. And that's what that looks like. I could also do 2 overheads in a row and then do a left cross. And I just did 3 attacks in a row, so that's the maximum I can do. I can also do an overhead into a left cross and then into a left side attack. That because I started here, I went one direction counterclockwise, and then I went to another direction counterclockwise. I could even go backwards. I could do overhead, left cross, overhead. So I went from one direction over here, and then right back one direction. What I can't do is go from, say, right side to left. That's way too many directions. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 directions clockwise or counterclockwise that I've got to move in order to initiate that attack, and that doesn't work in red stance. You have to be able to only move one direction within the combo you just, or the swing you just did. Now there's an exception to this rule, and I'm going to get into that exception now. And that exception is delayed attacks from the right side. So even if I start on the left here, I can make my character do a delayed right upper. This is a right upper, by the way, back right. This is what back right looks like normally. This is a left side attack. Oops. And this is a delayed right upper. It comes out delayed. Didn't have to do anything special to do that. All I had to do was move left and then move back right while holding the attack button, and my character did the delayed attack. You can only do this with right side attacks, or with the right sides. You can't do it with the left. So I can't, for example, do a right side attack and then do a delayed left cross. It doesn't work that way. It only works with right attacks. And it counts as one attack in that maximum of 3 we were talking about earlier. So if I do a left side attack, I can do a delayed right side attack, and I can even do another delayed attack, but that's it. I can only do 3 attacks in a row. This is very useful for catching your opponent off guard. So for example, I could do a very quick attack, left cross, delayed, and then another delayed attack, to really throw off my timing and make my opponent hesitant about attacking me. But be careful, if you're fighting someone and they know how to count the number of swings you've done in a row, they can punish you for it, because you can only do 3 attacks in a row. Now there's very specific little rules, like for example, if I do a left side attack and a delayed right side attack, I can't do a third delayed right attack. It doesn't work that way. I have to move one direction. It's just a little exception to an exception. I know it's getting a little confusing, but as you play around more, you'll get used to those little rules. For example, I can do left cross to a right upper, but I can't do a third right upper in a row. Or what, maybe I can? Oh, okay. It's just the right side attack that gets finicky. You can't do, for example, if I go left side, delayed right cross, I can't do a right side attack as the third hit in my combo. And that's specifically the right side attack. For clarification, when I'm referring to the right side attack, I'm referring to this move, moving right and attacking. So that covers the basics of comboing in Red. You always have to move one direction in general, and there are some exceptions to that. We just covered them. So I hope that explains Red comboing. It's a little tricky to explain, but once you play around with it and get used to how it flows, it's very simple to use, and you can get really creative and unorthodox with how you attack and catch your opponent off guard.